Hi, this is Ray Gralek, and there was some discussion recently on the Gemini forum about how the Gemini PEC curves look wrong. So here's one of those wrong looking curves right here. Part of the reason why it looks wrong is because of the east versus west minimum move distance. Because I'm using a guide rate of 0.8x, there's a huge discrepancy between the minimum move going east versus the minimum move going west. So east minimum move in this case is 2.25 arc seconds versus 0.25 seconds west move. That's a factor of 9x. As the guide rate is decreased, that ratio becomes smaller and smaller, and the minimum PEC move becomes finer in resolution. So here, let me show you what the actual curve looks like. Now you can see that the PEC curve is kind of following a pattern. The west moves can be accomplished in 0.25 arc second steps. However, when it gets to the point where an east move needs to be done, the only choice is to move 2.25 arc seconds. That's what this big jump is here. So the curve is following this here, and it gets to the point right here where it's about halfway down the 2.5 arc second jump, and it does the jump, and then immediately multiple west moves are applied back, which brings it back up to a point in the curve where it should be. Time goes on a little bit further, and then it gets to the point where it's again about halfway down the 2.25 arc second step. It at that point does the move, and then immediately there's some steps back up to where the curve meets. And this continues on. On an uprise here, it's easy for the curve to match pretty closely. 0.25 arc seconds. So let me change the guide rate here down a little bit, and you can see how things change. Oh, one other thing I wanted to point out here is that the RMS error at this point, that's what this means right here, is the error between the RMS error between this curve here and the data points that the Gemini can move at this guide rate. And also there's a maximum error here. That's the maximum distance that there will be a discrepancy between the moves that the Gemini can make and what the PEC curve is. So as I lower the rate to 0.7, you can see now the east minimum move is now only 1.3 arc seconds, and the west move is 0.23 arc seconds. So the granularity is a little bit less now, and the curve is a little bit closer match. And you can see that the RMS error has gone down to 0.25 arc seconds, and the max error 0.66 arc seconds. Remember before, those numbers were RMS of 410 and a max error of 1.2. So it's gone down from that to these numbers, 254 and 66. So moving it down further, you can see that the curve becomes finer and finer. This is the recommended value here of guide rate 0.05x, and the east move is 0.562 arc seconds, that's the minimum, and the west minimum move is 0.187 arc seconds, and there's a factor of 3. By the way, these values will change. This is for a mount with a 360 worm tooth count. If you have a mount with a different number of worm teeth, the numbers will be different. So if you keep continuing on, the curve gets finer and finer. And the best possible case is at 0.2x, and now the RMS error is 0.036 arc seconds, and the max error is only 0.07 arc seconds. Anyway, I hope this explains the weirdness in the graph as it appears with a guide rate of 0.8x.